Hi guys, Roxanne here from Tiny Home Living. Beautiful sunny day on the prairie today, but cold. So, and of course, little miss, where's my doorman, wants to go in and out for about the 1000th time today. But I'm just going to try and get some little things done today. I already got this chicken carcass cleaned off. Got lots of chicken broth. I'm just going to freeze it, but I think at some point in time I might try canning a whole bunch of it. You know, this is the chicken carcass that we normally just throw away if we cut the pieces off. So I've decided to start cooking it, and this is the meat I got off the carcass. Got all this broth off of one chicken. So I'm going to do the same thing. I took a couple of chickens out for tomorrow to cut the pieces off, then I'm going to cook the carcasses again. So keep myself in lots of chicken broth. That is basically free because, you know, normally I just throw the chicken carcass in the garbage, or I have in the past. So the other thing I want to get done is get that rack cleaned off so that I can get it out of the way in the kitchen and move that bookshelf in there to get ready to sand it and paint it so that I can actually use it in the kitchen. But before I get started with all that, I just want to ask you to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with your family and friends. We really appreciate it and hope you're enjoying the videos. The other thing I'm going to do today is make a couple loaves of the cinnamon raisin bread. That's the same bread I made yesterday. Oh, and by the way, I did find my box that I keep the bread in. So I sliced this bread up. It was absolutely awesome. There were a couple pieces, yeah, you can see a bubble there. That's from when you roll it up. So this means not having to have bags all the time. This was the egg version because, like I said, I have so many eggs. And it has milk in it, and the first recipe had, is much smaller. It has some bubbles in it. It was made with water. This one was made with milk and eggs. So, I'm gonna make the cinnamon raisin version today, and might even end up making the herb bread. Might try putting some fresh herbs in there too. I've still got lots of sage. So, gonna do that today too. And I think Chris might go up to Bob and Rita's to plane the board that I want to make the coat hook out of for the wall. I just called Home Depot trying to find out where my laminate is. And nobody seems to know. So, like everything else, people are waiting for stuff and there just doesn't seem to be any way to even know where it is. It's on a truck somewhere, I think. Or a slow boat from somewhere. But anyway, gonna do a bunch of little things today, try and get some laundry done. You know how it is, trying to do about just 10 different things at once. So let's get going and put this chicken broth in the freezer and let the little dog out for the 100th time and see what we can get done out in the new tiny house. Tiny house 2. So I'm getting ready to make this honey cinnamon bread, or sorry, cinnamon raisin bread. Got my raisins measured out, the cinnamon sugar mixture, I got my milk scalding. First 4 cups of flour in here, my eggs ready because I did do the 1 3/4 cups of milk, and I'm adding the 2 eggs, and got my second batch of flour weighed out, and I'm just going to heat up some water to get my yeast started in, and then I can throw this all together and get my bread rising out there where it's nice and warm. Well, the same thing happened with my yeast again. I forgot about it for a minute while I was editing a video. It's all over the place, dripping on the floor, the dog's licking it up. So I'm gonna get this stuff put in the mixer and get going with this bread. So just mixing everything in with the first batch of flour, and I have the salt and sugar in there as well. And I also, it didn't say to do that in the recipe, but I did put a tablespoon of the sugar in with the yeast, and I do find that gets the yeast going a lot better. So scrape this bowl down. Again, putting the flour in the bottom first isn't really the best way of doing things because it does get kind of all clumped on there. But you saw in the last one that I made yesterday, it does, once you get the right amount of flour and everything in there, it does all pull away from the bowl when your dough is done to the right stage. So not too big a deal. I'm mostly putting it on like 4. I think that's 4, 3 or 4 when it's not too stiff, but once the dough gets stiffer you have to put it down to 2 or it just starts pumping around. It gets a little scary. Down a bit and start incorporating some of the other 4 cups of flour in. I find if I turn it up from this, well, I think that's 3 now, but if you go to 4, it starts flinging the flour right out of the bowl. So I was doing that yesterday. It's still kind of flinging it today, but I'm just going to let this get incorporated and then add some more. If there's too much dry stuff in there, it will roll it up out of the bowl. Put a little more in now. Now I put a little too much in there, so I'm just gonna go slow until I get some of it incorporated again. Still throwing some flour out. Now I'm not going to add any more flour in there because I've got quite a bit left here, more than I had yesterday, and this seems to be dry enough and the machine's starting to struggle a bit, so I'm going to let it basically knead the dough for me, but I'm not going to add any more flour in. Yeah, it's starting to hesitate, so I'm not going to definitely not going to add any more, and I'm going to weigh this. I think I'm just going to start doing 4 cups and then 3 cups of flour, not 4 and 4, because it seems like both times I ended up with quite a bit of flour left over. Yeah, there's actually about 1 1/3 cups of flour in there. So from now on, I'm only going to weigh out the 7 cups of flour. It said 7 to 8 in the recipe. I'm just going to start weighing out 7 because I didn't use 8 yesterday, and this isn't using 8 today either. Now, because this one is kind of messy and not as smooth as the one yet last night, I am going to knead this for a couple of minutes to get it nice and smooth. I'm not going to add any flour because I think you can see how it's not sticking to my hand and it's not sticking to the countertop. So I'm not going to put flour on it. I'm just going to knead it a bit and then put it in the bowl with the oil. Don't even need any flour on the counter. This dough is a little yellower too because of the egg yolks. It turns everything yellow. To me, if I'm going to make the bread, I might as well throw in a couple of eggs and use less milk since the milk is store-bought and the eggs aren't at this point in time. You can see how nice and smooth that is now. Still a little wrinkly on this side, so I'm just going to do another minute or so. So you just keep turning the dough a quarter turn as you fold it over and knead it. This keeps your dough from getting quite swelled. Now you can see how smooth that is. So I'm just going to put the oil in the bowl and get that. So now drop the smooth side in first. Get it on the sides a little bit. And push it in because it's not getting oil. The cracks there. I want it all covered in oil. There. So now we're going to let that rise for an hour. Now I had forgotten to mix the raisins in, so that is not a smooth looking ball of dough now. Oh my goodness, my coals are almost gone. Get this fire loaded up. I'll put a little bit of cardboard and kindling in there, I think, because there's not much left. So I've tossed some kindling and paper in there. So I'll throw some more paper in because I've got lots. And I'll get one log going good before I throw some more in. Ooh, the maid didn't show up again today. Guess I better sweep up. Now it's not as warm in here yesterday, or today as it was yesterday, so I don't really want to get the fire stoked up super hot now because it's not time to put this in the oven. It just needs to be kept warm. So I put the pizza stone on top of the wok. I could touch the wok with my hand. So I put the pizza stone on top of there and then the bowl on top of there. So it's more, it's close to the heat coming off the oven, but not hot. Because I just put that one log on. I just want to keep it nice and cozy in here, and then when it's time to get the oven heated up to actually bake the bread, then I'll load it up with more logs. Again, this is a learning process for me, and I sort of did it too quickly. Like I got the oven all heated up, but it was only time for the bread to rise, not bake. So that's the sort of thing that I've got to learn and get used to. Wow. I was worried I had killed the yeast because I threw it back in the mixer, but that has risen definitely twice as much. Now, it's very nice and warm in here now. There's lots of wood in there, so I'm not going to load the stove up right now. The oven is almost 400, so I'm going to get this in the loaf pans and back out here to rise again. Now, punch this down, so I'm just going to get a plate so I can weigh the dough, and that way I can break it into two evenly sized. It might have been a little too hot. It feels like bread started to cook on the bottom. So that's 1,828 grams, so 900 grams each. Flinging raisins all over the place. Okay. Take a little more off of there. All right. Put that one over there. Boy, that's a lot of raisins. Keep flinging all over the place. Let's see if we can get this rolled into something like a square rectangle. You're supposed to put some water on here, and then the cinnamon mixture. There's my measuring spoon. I guess to get the sugar to stick. Oh, the water. It's not working. Now I weighed this sugar mixture, and there's 70 grams, so I'm gonna try putting 35 grams onto here, give or take. Oops, too much. Wow, that's quite a bit of cinnamon mixture too. I didn't think it looked like that much. But there is quite a bit. Good enough. 37 left, so. Now I gotta spray those pans. Dropped a couple of raisins. Hopefully Puppy won't be eating them. You goofy little dog. Don't eat the raisins. Oh, I'll be glad when I have more room to roll stuff out. Squishing my raisins out of there. Now, tablespoon of water. Put the rest of this stuff on. So I've just added one log to the fire. The oven is at about 360 right now. So I'm gonna wait to load it up with a couple more logs after this has risen. So I've got my 2 loaves. I put melted butter on them, and so I'm gonna let them rise and put them in the oven. I think it's an hour again that has to rise, but I'll double check. No, it's been an hour, I think, but this hasn't risen as much as I'd like it to, so I'm gonna give it a few more minutes and then put it in. Like I said, I think I kind of wrecked this batch by forgetting to put the raisins and the shortening in and having to re-beat it. But like Chris said, it's still gonna get eaten. Now I loaded the wood stove up good, and I should have checked again. I need to start remembering to put the timer on my phone. This went from like 3:25 to it's about 4:25 now, pretty quickly. Just a few minutes, I think, but I really need to get into the habit of timing this so that when I'm getting stuff ready to bake, I know how long I have till it can go in the oven. So I loaded the stove up. This was already pushed in to close the flue. I adjusted this. I closed it a little bit more so there's not as much air going in there, and the bottom one too. So all the air is going to the oven. It went up really quickly. But again, I really need to remember to start timing this. So like I said, I think the bread would have risen more if I hadn't made that big boo-boo, but I told you at the beginning of this, I'm going to show my mistakes too. I see so many young people wanting to learn how to bake bread, and I made so many mistakes, and I'm still making mistakes because I haven't done it for so long. So anyway, I'm gonna pop this in the oven now because it says it's 425. I think it said to put it in at 450, but I'm not sure. But you need that heat for the chemical reaction to make it rise even more. So I'm gonna pop it in the oven and see what happens. Like I said, with all those raisins and all that cinnamon and sugar, it can't be that bad. It'll get eaten. I also remembered to get my butter ready to, so that when I take them out of the oven, the butter's melted. I've got my little silicone brush and it's ready to put on the bread when it comes out of the oven. Okay guys, not the nicest looking raisin bread you ever saw. Now again, this oven, it's burning it on the top. So it said to put it in the middle of the oven, but I think I might put it down lower next time, because obviously it's getting too much heat on the top. That was only 25 minutes. So it was the minimum amount of time. Actually, it was less than 25 minutes. So for some reason it's burning on top. The other stuff did too. Look at all the raisins, the burnt raisins. Which, funny, they look like blueberries. But if I turn it over, it doesn't look bad at all. It's not burnt. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my melted butter on it and see how this turns out. Obviously, I'm gonna take the crust off the top after I slice it. But yeah, again, this is why I wanted to I want to make a pie, I want to make scones, I want to make all of the different things in this oven to see how it bakes in comparison to, you know, the regular oven. So again, the other one, it didn't burn as much on top, but it did burn on top. So something, now when I put the just want to get this butter over here. When I put the pizza in, the reason I put that solid rack up close was to get the heat from the roof of the oven. So there's obviously too much heat here. So I think next time I make bread in here, I'm gonna put it down lower in the oven. I'm gonna try putting it down lower. Because you see, you know, a lot of the time you think, oh, you don't want it at the bottom, but of course this isn't like a regular oven where the heating elements are on the bottom. So most of the heat is rising to the top. So I'm going to try putting the bread right down low next time and see how that works out. Like I said, this is going to get eaten anyway because it's really just the very top that is burnt. So we'll try it for breakfast in the morning. I think I'll let it cool and cut it to see what it looks like inside. I don't think there should be too many bubbles. But again, big boo-boo with the mixing. Forgot to add the shortening and the raisins in. And then I've got to do something, I've got to figure out something here with keeping it from burning on the top in this oven. So I just sliced this bread now that it's cooled, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it inside. So like I said, I will have to adjust the oven. You can see how nice this turned out. So I'm going to have some with toast, or with butter toasted. Looks good. It's late and I'm tired. And it is so hot in here with this wood stove on. But anyway, I'm going to try this bread. I'll let you know what it's like, and hope you enjoyed the video. I told you I'd show you the mistakes, didn't I? But done for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share this video with your family and friends. We'll see you next time.